Our first question was, how was your journey at 21K? How was your overall experience here? Because we all know that online school differs from traditional schooling. So how was your journey at 21K?
I can start. So talking about especially applying to college or going to college, nothing will come to you easy, but everything won't be such a struggle as well. Starting my journey with 21K was always something like, always everybody has that question like, am I missing out on something? Is there something like, am I missing out on some opportunities, or is it I had that question a lot. And now that I have gone through the process of college or even like writing my A-level exams, I can say that was more of kind of like a blessing that I did get to go to an online school. One is that as a person with a lot of extracurriculars, I used to paint, I used to play the cello when I was applying to college, I did pottery, I also had hobbies, I used to read, and balancing all of that with A levels, which is a very rigorous coursework. So you still have to like study every day and you have to practice every day, especially with the subjects that I did have, like biology or psychology. And just talking about college, especially the US, is such a multi-dimensional process because you have to work on a lot. They focus on your extracurriculars, they focus on the person that you are. So you really do have to work on the essays that you're writing and the prompts. You'll have a lot of different prompts for every university you're applying to. And for example, if you're applying to 7 universities, they'll almost never have the same essays that you're going to write, and they're not going to be something that you usually talk about, like describe yourself in a few words. They're always something that's very creative. If you were put into this situation, what will you do? So it's really something that you worked on. So I did work on my essays for 3 months, and I can't imagine personally like going through that and going to normal school and doing the activities that I did, because I always also used to volunteer for 2 hours every day at the animal shelter. So I think that it was really hard to get used to at first. But with 2 years in, and I have applied to college and I've done all the activities that I did like simultaneously with school. And I'm so thankful that I did find this platform that I could juggle everything. And I think a lot of why I did get into the universities I got into was because I could do all of it together and work on the activities that I would.
That sounds interesting. Did you ever get any support and guidance from 21K to help you in the process of applying to schools, like workshops or guide you, recommendation letters, etc.?
Uh,
I
I
think
did, oh, yeah, I did have great teachers. Shivani ma'am from, like, we are in psychology. If you have the privilege to be taught by her, congratulations, she's amazing. And then there was also Sneha ma'am in biology, and they really did, in psychology for one, ma'am did used to ask us a lot um, about how our college process is going, and that she was really there for us. And I think that support was something that was really nice to have. And yeah, I think I'll let somebody else also answer the question.
Yeah, you said a lot of things I wanted to say. Shout out to Shivani ma'am. I got a lot of support and guidance when it came to selecting my course, as well as with the help for letter of recommendations. And she also helped me for my interview preparations. To be honest, all the credit goes to all my teachers, Sonali ma'am, Oli ma'am, Shivani ma'am. They're great teachers, and they went out of their way to make sure I was prepared, checked up on all of us time to time, made sure that they were also updated on how our processes were going. And yeah, it was really nice studying under them. Great teachers.
Let's talk about applying to foreign universities. What are the basic steps you need to take to start your application?
Oh, well, I can start with that because I picked a very hard. You have to, be accepted. For all of the juniors, I would recommend the first thing is that know what you like. Because usually people they apply to random courses and random universities and then they end up like disliking it. So before you apply, even if it takes time, even if you have to take a gap year, I recommend that. I was really into the medical field, so I didn't have any plan Bs on the courses, so I applied to a few countries, like for example, as you guys know, I got into the University of Turin, which is in Italy. However, there wasn't a hurdle I had to face because in Italy you can apply to one university because you're non-European citizen. But however, I got a pre-enrollment. I got pre-enroll. It's like a conditional offer, and I still have an entrance exam to do. So yeah. And also, I got to know yesterday that I got into a few Chinese universities such as Xinjiang, Hebei, and Shanghai University for medicine. So that was like I was very shocked and I was really like happy as well because I really thought I was not going to get into there are such good universities. So the main thing about getting into a university is like you have to have a persistence for it. Like you have to fight for it. Like even if it takes time, even if it's very hard, even if it's Stanford or Harvard, you have to fight for your way. Okay, so that is what I did. 21K helped me with my LORs, especially I shout out to Christensen sir. He was my chemistry teacher. He wrote a beautiful letter of recommendation and I use it for all of my universities and I send it to every single person. It was so beautifully written. Like I really would thank him if he was here right now, and it was so great. And also, the Christensen sir also helped me write my cover letter and my personal statement, which I also use a lot. And unlike some people here, I don't really have that much of extracurriculars. So what I did was I jumped into the research part. I used to like volunteer in medical camps and hospitals, and I did a research on music therapy, and I got it recognized by IITM in the science department. They helped me, just like sign in and recognize that this research is valid. So you can also do those kind of things. You don't necessarily have to jump into sports or, do extreme physical work. So depending on what you want to do, you can do these kind of things as well if you're not good in sports like me. So, and regarding your college essays, the one advice I would give to everyone is that don't brag about yourself. Like, yeah, that is one thing people hate. Like, if someone's reading something that is telling about you, you gotta tell them in a very explicit and implicit way. Like, if you had done something, if you had done extracurriculars, if you're academic scholar, then you should not, direct explicitly say I am this. You have to say how that has helped you become who you are and why are you suitable for being a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, and so and so and so. So, yep, that is what I would recommend.
Just bouncing off what Mahalakshmi said about essays. If you are applying to the US, essays will be really something that I struggled with at first because I really it wasn't something I'm used to talking about myself so much and talking about why I'm the prime candidate. It's basically like you're selling yourself in sense that why I'm the ideal student for your university. And starting off the prompts, there's I can't describe them. They're very creative. If you were put in a certain situation, what would you do? It's if you could ever teach one subject, what would you do when you would like design your course, right? So there's a lot of essays like that. And what I would suggest if you are in your year 11 or you're in 11th grade is just working on your creative writing or just working on writing like at the beginning of term. I applied in August to I guess December of my 11th grade, and I did have my decisions by March. Then I wrote my A-level exams, And so what would really help is if you work on your writing, because it won't be something that's so new, and it'll also be something that you get used to. Another thing to apply to US universities is you're probably going to have to write the SAT, and it isn't very intensive as I would say as Indian entrance exams are. It focuses on math and it focuses on English. All you need to do is practice for it. And I'd also suggest, if you're in 10th grade, writing it in 10th grade, because I did write mine in 10th grade. And yeah, for another thing about the SAT is I wrote my SAT and I got so the highest you could get is 1600, and I got 99th percentile. So if you do end up getting a good score on the SAT, like I got a 1530, so you can get scholarships, full ride scholarships anywhere, honestly. Even if some Indian universities do accept the SAT, and a lot of, like, if you are targeting the IVs, I do recommend, they do have an option to apply test optional without the SAT, or you can also take the ACT. And but I do suggest writing the SAT, because I think it helps a lot with if you want scholarships, if you want financial aid and stuff.
Thank you, guys. So the next question is, at any point, in your application journey, did you ever feel overwhelmed, or did you ever think of giving up or taking a break?
Actually, to answer that, since like I picked a very competitive course in many competitive countries, I actually thought about giving up so many times. Like when I typed my essays or when I was gonna submit my application, and whenever I checked for updates to see whether it's waitlisted or whether it's accepted or declined or have they deferred it, I used to get so scared I wouldn't eat or sleep. Like it's unexplainable. Like I even thought about, does the world really need another doctor? Like there are so many people who are capable of being a doctor or something like that. So yes, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's very crazy. It's very crazy, and you will have to cry, it will hurt you. Like speaking from experience, you will get hurt. It's gonna be a very tough journey. And so to people who are in 11th and 12th grade, you guys better start studying now, because coming from a nerd, when you have to crack entrance exams, when you have to, score well in your boards. I'm not saying that marks are the first priority. It's totally not. It's the second priority. It's about you first, about how determined you are to get what you want. That thing I was clear, but no matter how determined you are or how good you are, even if you get A stars or write excellent essays and you have a plethora of extracurriculars, I mean, the universities you're applying to are very competitive and they have a limited number of seats. So if you do get rejected, don't be sad. I mean, of course you'll be sad, you'll cry, and you'll feel like I'm not enough for this. I have felt many times. I applied to 5 UK universities and four of them rejected me. I only got into Manchester, and the four of them rejected me, like King's, Exeter, and Cambridge. I mean, of course, Cambridge rejected. And so all four of them rejected me. And I was just like, it was last year. And I was just thinking that I'm not maybe fit to be someone in the medical profession. And maybe I'm not good enough. So those kind of things, even if you get excellent grades, there will be some places where you won't go. Because you just have to admit that that place is not meant for you. You will go somewhere, and it's going to be a very hurtful process as well. Like, for example, I didn't know that I was going to get accepted into China as well. But yesterday, I got to know that I did get accepted into it. So at the last minute, you will find a really good university and a really good place which is meant for you. So always keep that in mind, and don't worry about, getting rejected or deferred or waitlisted, because what you want, if you're determined, you will get it. And at the end, you will go to a place that is meant for you. That is what happened to all of the graduates here. So, but do put in your hard work, study. I mean, I'm a nerd, so I study a lot. So do study, prepare for your entrance exams. And remember, it's not about how long you study, but how much. So yeah, that was such a nerdy, line. But anyway, do start studying for entrance exams, put in the hard work, and be persistent about your goal, fight for it. That is what I would say about, overwhelmingness and feeling.
Yeah, I think that is so hard to remember that this isn't something that's personal, that especially if you are applying to the IBs, which are like the top 10 universities in the world. And if you don't know, the IVs, there is like they announce the results on the same day, and it's called IV day, and you're opening them one by one. So you see the first wait list, you're like, all right. You open the next one, you're like, oh, it's starting to hurt a little. Then you open the next one, then you open the next one. So it's so it's really overwhelming, and that's the least, like, that's very put low, but yeah, it's overwhelming. And it's so hard to remember that this isn't something. So you see something like, oh, Howard has an acceptance rate of 3%. You don't think beyond the numbers. You're like, oh, it's just a number, I can do it, I'll work on it. But then when you see the rejection or you see the wait list, you're like, I'm part of that number, I'm part of the statistics. Like, I wasn't part of the 3%. Obviously you think that you could be part of the 3%, but in reality it actually is very hard to. And this is, I'm sorry if this is demotivating. Obviously you give it your best, but you don't let it get to you. You don't let it get in that, oh, the college I really wanted to go to was Dartmouth, and I did end up getting waitlisted at Dartmouth. And it was something really hard for me, because I got waitlisted at like 5-6 schools that I really wanted to go to. I did end up getting off the waitlist at UCLA and Denison, but um, there are that's gonna be happening a lot. It's just so frustrating, but it's just something that you have to like get going on. It's gonna hurt you. It really messed with my like image of myself, and just like your self-esteem is gonna go down a little, that, oh my god, like, does nobody want me? But you have to remember that it isn't about you. Even if you were a great student, you had great academics, great extracurriculars, great essays, you can just be not a good fit for the specific university. You can think that, oh, I'll be a great fit here, but the admissions officers or the people at that university know better that what kind of student that they want in their body. So the student body for every university is going to be very different, and what they seek is going to be very different. So it is hard to accept that you're not what they want, or you're not what they're seeking. But you just have to let it not get to you. You have to go into the college process, which personally I didn't do. I was being overly optimistic that yes, like, I will get into great schools, yes, I am going to Harvard. But I'd suggest going in neutral, so you don't like, the first rejection you see doesn't like break your heart. But it is something that you do learn as you go on, and you'll, I guess, after you're done with like applying to your colleges and you have your decisions back, you learn a lot about yourself, how you deal with things. You'll be better at dealing with rejection just for further in life. But you just have to remember that this isn't something that's personal. It isn't something that's on you or your skill set or what you offer. It's just not what the university wants sometimes. Yep.
Thank you
That was
so
so
much.
nice.
Yeah.
But Dax, you did get into UCLA, and that's a very good university. But also, like, one more hurdle you guys will surely face is your board results. Like, when I was in A levels, I was the only person in my class to take Feb March series, and I got my grades on May 24 or 23. Yeah, so when I got my results, I didn't even click the results. Like, I just started crying. I didn't even open my laptop or anything. I just sat and started crying. And my mom just came in and she was like, "Did you fail or anything? Like, oh, why are you crying?" Like, no, I didn't even open it yet. So like, that is the first hurdle you will face before you even get into a university. Okay, I mean, my grades were okay. I got AAB in my science subjects, so that was okay. So this is also a very main hurdle you will face, because I've seen many people. They're like, I'm not even getting good school grades. So how will I, succeed in a university level education, whatever a major that may be? So even if you get B's or C's, or even if you're an A-star student, it honestly doesn't matter anymore because some universities they see what's in here and what's in here. They don't see what's on a piece of paper. It is important. Don't like take it, lightly. Try for good grades as much as you can. But if you see from like right now when I got accepted, those grades don't even matter to me anymore. Whether I got a C or whether I got an A star, it doesn't matter to me anymore because they are school grades. So once you get into the place you're meant to be, and then you go there, when you look back from a year now, you're not gonna say, oh my God, why was I crying that day? I did fine. I'm in this position right now, and I'm doing well in university. I'm in a new country, or I have new friends. So that's what you're gonna be focusing on like a year or a few months from now on. So when you get your board results, open it. You can't change what you got, but benefit takes time. That is a advice I will give.
Thank you, guys. I think that was really good. But the next question is, if things didn't work out, if things failed, did you guys ever have a plan B in mind?
Yes, I did have plan Bs, but as like personally, I only had medicine as my only plan. Like I had plan B universities and countries. I even had plan C, D, E, F, G. I have till Z, because like I was really scared. Like when I began my A levels, I was like just one more year and I have to go to university, and I didn't even like know where I'm gonna get in. So like I would suggest to some people, it's not really necessary to have a plan B course you want to. If you're really legitimate, for example, you want to study law and you want to do it in Harvard and you're going to apply to Harvard Law University, there are high chances you may not get in. So don't get upset and go join computer science in Harvard, okay? Because Harvard is not going to determine who you are. I know many Harvard graduates who don't do anything now, okay? So have plan B universities and countries. For example, I applied to Italy, and there was only one university I can apply to since I'm a foreigner. So I applied to UK and China as my backups. So you can have plan B, C, D as your universities, but don't focus on your plan Bs. Focus on your plan A, because if you focus on plan B, your plan A will fail. So always aim forward, have just think that plan A is the only plan and go ahead with that. In case if you get unlucky or it's a competitive university, you can't do anything. So it doesn't necessarily have to change your course, change what you want to do. You can change where you go. You can go to a different country or different university that has similar reputation, or you can just go to a country like I didn't choose Italy because it has a good university reputation. I chose it because it has wonderful pasta. That's why I chose Italy in the first place, and it's a beautiful country. So I just wanted to go where I like. So I didn't apply to any IVs. I just went where I like, and that's what matters. So yeah, it is very important to have plan Bs. That's what smart people should do. But also smart people focus on plan As first. So prioritize what you want.
Bihan and Vivan, would you like to add anything to that?
Like, sure, they said exactly what I was thinking. Mainly, if you focus on plan A, it's likely that you succeed in it. However, you always should have a plan B. For me, it was like just doing IIM Bangalore degree instead of pursuing a dual degree, or applying in another field, or just doing a commerce thing. For example, we were also planning to apply for ESCP program uh, and many other Europe universities, but like we finalized on a dual degree between IIT Madras and IIM Bangalore, and hopefully we got into one. So we will be preparing for the other this year and giving the that qualifier thing.
So it's always important to have a plan B. It was really great listening to all of you. So now I'd like to know if you focused on any extracurricular activities, and do you think they made an impact on like the selection process or on your portfolio?
Yeah, I had a lot of extracurriculars. I don't recommend having this many if I'm like starting, but I genuinely wanted to learn so much because I had the time when I started online school, I was like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do this. So I didn't pick. I just did everything that I could. I learned the cello. I've been playing the cello since I was a kid, but I picked it up again. I painted. I started did competitions, art competitions. I got my paintings to be in galleries displayed. Then I did writing competitions. Then I did poetry competitions. I did so much. So I don't actually recommend doing all of that. But if you're interested and you think you can take it, go ahead. And yeah, so talking about the US, they really do like it when a person is well rounded. And if you are great in academics and you're not that great in extracurriculars, it might be like a minus point on your profile, because they do want someone that's a good student just outside of the classroom. What You can't just be a good student in the classroom. You have to be a good leader, you have to be a good team member, you have to. And I think extracurriculars teach you a lot of qualities like that. So my extracurricular, since I do a lot of art and I did a lot of literature, it is very different from what I am pursuing, which is neuroscience. But I've always, even in my essays, I've kind of incorporated like how I view, like, since I want to be a neurosurgeon one day, i've I've been painting, and I've been painting with brushes all my life ever since I was a kid, and it's something that I love. And just that transition from like a paintbrush to a scalpel, it's something that I feel like painting has led me to, that instead of picking my colors, I'll be picking my, like, surgery equipment. And yeah, so how it has helped me in my admissions process, it is really nice when the admissions officers, they really do appreciate you for the stuff that you've done. Even in the interviews that I had, they talked a lot, like, if you're someone like me and you have extracurriculars that are different from the subject you're pursuing, that it really shows you off as a person who's not just into one field. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you are doing an extracurriculars that's different from what you're pursuing, it really teaches you qualities that you don't really see, um, because it just makes you very vertical. And yeah, so they asked me a lot of questions like, how do you think this has helped you in your just like pursuing neuroscience? And I think since art has helped me a lot with neuroscience, just like science in general, because I do see a lot of parallels in like how our brain works and just how art is, like the nature of art is. And if you don't have an extracurricular right now, and seeing me talk about how important it is, it might be a little unnerving. But this is a hobby of mine that I've turned into an extracurriculars, like participating in competitions or whatever it is. Even if you are in a science and science field, you're going into a science field and you think that art won't be like a valid extracurriculars, that's not a thing at all. If you're into poetry, you can make that into an extracurricular. Anything that you're interested in, just make sure what extracurricular you do have, it's something that you're genuinely interested in, because you really do have to push yourself to do this, because this is something outside of school. We study, sometimes we have to study because we have to, right? We have exams, we have to study even if you don't feel like studying, right? In extracurriculars, there's nothing pushing you like I have to do this. There's nothing holding you against, like you have to do this, right? So it's, you really have to have the ambition and you really have to have the want to do it. So really pick something that you really want to do, because even if I did have a lot of extracurriculars, some they really shine through because it's something I was more interested in. Like playing the cello, I don't play the cello anymore because it's very time consuming and it's not something I was very interested in. And to be honest, it is something I picked up again because it would look good on my college profile. But now that I don't do it anymore, you don't have to have a lot of extracurriculars, just if you have one, two, but it's something that you're really well versed in and it's something that you're really passionate about. I think that really shines through when you talk about your extracurriculars or you're going to talk about them in your essays. So yeah, so I'd say pick something that you really want and like stick to it throughout your years. Even if you don't have one right now, you can figure it out. It will definitely help you in your admissions process, and it will also help you as you're going forward in university, because it does help you develop so many qualities that you just wouldn't find in a book.
To add to that, like for us studying in AS or A levels, uh, due to the long hours of study, we also have built up some sort of like stress. So having extracurriculars will help us bind up to relieve that stress, because since, as Daksh said, that there's no compulsion, and I think most people enjoy doing things when there's no compulsion in it. So it's for me, like playing chess and playing harmonica and piano is like a really good way to like not thinking about anything else and just be in it, be in that moment, and relieve the stress of the and bind up. Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
also
guys. Oh,
like,
okay. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, for people who haven't thought about having extracurriculars, first, it's whatever university you're applying to, even if they don't require any extras, it is good to have one or two. And like, if you haven't started your extracurriculars yet and you're in grade 12 or in your mid of your AS or something like that, it's fine because I did not have extracurriculars until I joined A levels. Like I joined A levels last year, July, and my exams were in February. They started in February first week, and my applications I had to like submit by November or October, something like that. So I was just thinking, like, what can I do in such a short period? I was very, very stressed. And on top of that, I had my boards coming up. And since I'm in science stream, you know how stressful that can be. So I was just thinking, like, what can I do? I have to study every day also, but how can I, involve myself in so much of extracurriculars? So I actually like coincidentally met my one of my friends. She was in Cambridge, like in the University of Cambridge, and she was studying law there. So I mean, she's wow, okay, like she got into Cambridge. So I was like really, really congratulating her about it, and I asked her like, how did she get in? Because I was also applying to Cambridge. I didn't get in, but I was just asking her, what did you do? What were your extracurriculars? I'm sure you had like a lot of them, but she said she didn't even have any that much of extracurriculars. She had two extracurriculars, and I don't remember them, but one of them was related to whatever. To law, what she was saying, like MUNs and all of those things. She had a lot of MUNs. And the other thing was one of her hobbies. I think she was a swimmer. So she only had two extracurriculars and she got in. So she said that this type of universities, whether it be Harvard or Cambridge or a normal university, they don't see if you have a variety of extracurriculars because when they see it on a paper, they don't know who you are. It's just a paper to them with your name on it. So if you have like swimming, karate, and like your research papers, your volunteering work, or your sports. So they're just gonna see every single thing. They wouldn't understand what you exactly like. What like they will just think this kid did everything that was in the existence of the world. That's how they will think that I was the admissions officer. That's how I would see because to them it's a piece of paper, but to you that's your life. So to make yourself look good on paper, you have to like show them that I like this is my passion, and when I'm doing something I will continue that. I'm not skeptical about things, and I don't do everything that is put on the table. I take what I want on my table, and I want what I want on my plate. So you got to show them that. So what I did was I just did some research papers on music therapy, and I'm also a swimmer and I know karate. So I just took these three extracurriculars and I already know that. And since I was also a classical dancer, I don't do it anymore. But since I was that as well and I got like awards and the certificates and stuff for that. So I just like already had everything in hand. I didn't even realize I had it in hand. But whatever I had achieved in my younger age, I already had what they were expecting. But you can do extra things as well. So if you have a lack of time, it doesn't matter because when you were young, you would have achieved a lot of things. You just gotta like, show it in a more explicit way. You just have to start it again a little bit, put a little bit of effort. So that is what matters. So you do not have to have a range of extracurriculars. That is actually very, very tough. Then if you're applying to universities like Harvard. So if you're good at swimming and if you're a very sciencey person, fine, go volunteer in a medical camp, go to a hospital, be a lab assistant, go volunteer in an animal shelter, or just go to a few swimming competitions and just win that, and then you're done because they just want to see if you're good at it. That's all. You don't have to make you don't have to win a Nobel Prize or something. That's not what they expect. They just want to know who you are, not how much you can do.
Yes, of course. I mean, thank you so much for that. Like, I'd say it was a great tip. I'm also into like extracurriculars, so I can understand that a lot. Thanks for the tips. So, my final question for you all is, what was the most valuable lesson you learned during the college application process?
I guess it would.
Yeah,
Go.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I guess it would be. It's okay to get rejected. I know that sounds very vague, but yeah, I just thought that. I don't know. It's more of a spiritual approach. Like I just thought it's okay to get rejected. It's okay to not go to this place that I really want because I will go where I'm meant to go. That is what I realized even yesterday and when I got pre-enrolled into Turin. That's what I realized. Like I was like insanely stressed about this entire thing. I just went crazy at sometimes. So that the only thing I learned was you will go where you're meant to go and you will do what you like. I'm just gonna put it there because that's all that matters, right now.
Anyone
Yeah.
else?
Oh, yeah. Just answering shortly. Just be yourself. Don't let the rejections get to you because it really isn't something that's completely on your skill set, like I said before. And dealing with it, what I did on since my dad he's into philosophy, he gave me a lot of books to read about how to deal with rejection and how just life is sometimes. And I guess I that actually did help me a lot. So if that's something you're into, go ahead, read some Camus, and just don't let it get to yourself. And just throughout the application process, don't write what you think that the person wants to read. Just write about what you are, and people just like be yourself and people will like you.